Imagine this. You're a detective. But instead of chasing criminals, you're chasing ghosts. Ghosts of the deadliest outbreaks in history. And your mission? To find patient zero. The first person who started it all. But here's the twist, history loves to lie. Do you know for centuries, we blamed rats for the Black Death? We always thought typhoid came from dirty water. And in the 1980s, we even named the wrong man as the source of HIV. But today, modern science? It's cracked the case wide open. And what we've found will shock you too. Welcome to the second episode of Hidden Histories of Pandemics, here on the Health Bulletin podcast. And today, we're hunting history's most notorious spreaders. Let's begin with the patient zero behind the Black Death. The one who unknowingly unleashed one of the deadliest plagues in human history. Let's rewind the clock to the year 1346. The Black Death is creeping toward Europe. When cities are thriving, trade is booming, and people are utterly unaware that a biological catastrophe is about to unfold, the Black Death. But where did it really begin? For the longest time, history pointed its finger at Mongolian trade routes, rats, and fleas. That was the story. But then, science stepped in. And in 2019, archaeologists unearthed skeletons from a tiny village in Kyrgyzstan. The ordinary-looking graves. But the teeth held secrets. DNA analysis found plague bacteria, Yersinia pestis, inside the molars. And here's the catch. These villagers died in 1338. That's 8 years before the plague reached Europe. So who were they? Maybe a traders? Or a soldiers? Nope. They were marmot hunters. Turns out, the real patient zero wasn't a rat. It was likely a hunter who skinned an infected marmot and unintentionally released a pathogen that would kill nearly 50 million people. The next time someone blames rats for the Black Death, remember this. It may have started with one human, one marmot, and one deadly mutation. Next is about Typhoid Mary, the superspreader who refused to bellevue. Now let's fast forward to 1906. In New York City, a wealthy family falls ill due to typhoid fever. The strange part? They only ate well-prepared, gourmet food. No spoiled milk. Even no contaminated water. That's when investigators found her, Mary Mallon, the cook. She was healthy. Absolutely symptom-free. No sign of any illness. But her reports was positive and she filled with typhoid bacteria. When doctors explained she was likely infecting people, she snapped. She denied everything. Threw kitchen utensils at the inspectors. And escaped. She even changed her name. And kept cooking. In total, Mary infected at least 51 people. Out of which, 3 of them died. Mary wasn't evil. She didn't understand the science. And no one did. But she became the first known asymptomatic superspreader. A person who can carry and transmit disease without showing a single sign of illness. Her case taught the world something critical. You don't have to be sick to make others sick. Now here's a story that will make you rethink everything you know about disease narratives. In the early 1980s, the HIV/AIDS epidemic was tearing through communities. The world was desperate for a cause. Looking for a face to be blamed. A villain. They found one. Gaëtan Dugas, a French-Canadian flight attendant. They called him Patient Zero, the man who brought AIDS to America. But the truth, he didn't. You see, in a key medical study, Dugas was originally labeled as Patient O, short form for outside California. But someone misread it as the number 0. The media jumped on it. And just like that, Gaëtan became infamous. But in 2016, genetic testing proved HIV was already in the US long before he showed up. In fact, the virus had been circulating quietly since the 1970s. His real crime? Being cooperative. Being gay during a time of mass fear. Gaëtan wasn't patient zero. He was patient scapegoat. And his story reminds us that sometimes, in our rush to find a culprit, we invent one. So, what have we learned? That patient zero is rarely who we think. Sometimes it's a marmot hunter in Central Asia. Sometimes a cook who felt perfectly fine. Sometimes, a man mislabeled by a typo. But in every case, fear clouded truth. And science, eventually, cut through the fog. Today, we have powerful tools like genomic sequencing, artificial intelligence-based contact tracing, and real-time disease model. But with great tools comes a great responsibility to investigate with empathy, not blame. So the next time when you hear patient zero, take pause for a second and ask to yourself a questions. Is this history taught us? And remember, sometimes the loudest stories in history are the least accurate. So next episodes of Health Bulletin podcast, explore the hidden histories of the plague that killed gods, how smallpox devastated empires and reshaped the Americas. Until then, stay curious, stay cautious, and stay human.